Intade and Halima were once considered a vibrant young couple with so much potential. They had what many assumed was a passionate love, full of laughter, mutual energy, and spirited conversations. But beneath the surface, their relationship was slowly eroding due to a dangerous and unhealthy communication pattern that was often brushed aside as normal banter. The verbal insults between them had become so common that they forgot what it meant to speak with kindness, patience, or mutual respect. From the early months of their marriage, verbal abuse started to creep in. Alima, bold and outspoken, often responded to Itade's questions or suggestions with sarcasm and cutting words. If Itade asked, "Why didn't you cook today?" she might snap back, "Cook for who? You think I am your ass girl?" These small jabs became daily occurrences. But Etade was not blameless either. He too would often belittle her with degrading names when things didn't go his way. When Alima forgot to wash his clothes one weekend, he called her a lazy goat. Whenever he was frustrated or felt disrespected, his choice of words became crude, dismissive, and degrading. But what made things worse was that insults were not the only weapons in their communication arsenal. Physical violence so became part of their toxic cycle. Intade, unable to contain his anger, began reacting physically to Alima's words. If she insulted him, he slapped her. If she challenged his decisions, he threatened to beat her. Then came the day that would forever change the trajectory of their marriage. It started as usual, a heated argument over a minor issue. Intade accused Alima of speaking disrespectfully again. She had called him goat. In response to him calling her the same, the insult triggered something in Intade. He stood up, his face boiling with rage, and slapped her forcefully. But unlike in the past, Alima did not cower or retreat. Fueled by pain and anger, she retaliated, not with words, but with physical force. She grabbed an object nearby and struck Itade on the head. Blood flowed. The house that was once echoed with laughter now trembled with screams and violence. Shocked and wounded, Itade rushed to his family to report what had happened. "She called me a goat," he cried, "and when I corrected her, she broke my head." His parents and siblings were furious. In their view, no matter what their son had said or done, Alima had crossed a sacred line. A wife raising a hand on her husband is an abomination. Intade's mother shouted during the emergency family meeting. Intade's sisters, all married women themselves, were particularly enraged. "We all have husbands," one of them said, "and we have faced many challenges in our homes, but none of us have ever dared to raise a hand against our husbands. Alima, what kind of woman are you?" They summoned Alima to the family compound and demanded an explanation. Alima, visibly shaking, arrived alone and sat quietly before her in-laws. They questioned her, their voices harsh, eyes full of suspicion and condemnation. "What happened, Alima? Did you really break our son's head?" the father asked. Alima nodded, tears already streaming down her face. "Yes, he called me goat. I called him goat. He slapped me first, I reacted. At that moment, Entade's mother rose to her feet, visibly disgusted. You called my son goat because he called you goat. You shameless woman. That is how you were raised in your father's house. That you raise your hand on your husband and then sit here with crocodile tears. The father shook his head. This is not our way. We don't raise daughters like this in our family. If you want to be part of this family, you must drop those useless and barbaric behaviors you pick from your father's house. Alima wept harder, but her sobs were met with cold silence. Entade, embodied by his family support, sneered at her and said, "Stop shedding those fake tears. Next time, I will break your hand." Rather than offer counsel to both parties, the family meeting turned into a one-sided judgment. No one addressed the toxic communication or the years of verbal abuse both sides had endured. No one asked what had led to the boiling point. The focus was only on the cultural belief that a wife should never raise a hand against her husband, regardless of provocation or abuse. Entade's sisters turned to Alima and back. "Lay down, apologize to our brother, and let this be the last time we hear anything like this again. Next time, we will throw you and your belongings out." Alima knelt slowly, her pride shattered, her heart weighed down by a mixture of pain, confusion, and quiet rage. She whispered an apology, not from understanding, but from a place of deep humiliation. Her spirit had been broken, not by guilt, but by the crushing feeling that no one in the room cared enough to listen to her side of the story. She was a woman standing alone before a jury that had already reached its verdict. Not one member of her husband's family paused to ask, what led to this? No one considered that the insults she returned were not born out of rebellion, but out of frustration and years of emotional abuse. No one cared to put themselves in her shoes, to feel what it was like to be constantly degraded, insulted, and slapped for mere responding to provocation. They choose to focus only on a reaction, conveniently ignoring the actions that triggered it. They treated her not as a human being with emotions and dignity, but as an object, a wife expected to endure, obey, and never retaliate, no matter how unjust the treatment. Their judgment reflected the same outdated and androcentric thinking that once governed many traditional societies. A time before colonial rule, when women had little voice, little value, and even less protection. Alima's pain was dismissed simply because she was a woman. Her tears were labeled crocodile tears. Her defense was mocked. She was not allowed to speak freely, nor was she given space to express how deeply her husband's words and hands had wounded her. In the eyes of her in-laws, her only role was to apologize and submit, no matter the truth. This experience is a powerful reminder of the gender bias that still lingers in many homes and cultures today. Women are often expected to be perfect in their silence and endurance, while men's flaws are rationalized or ignored. But this is not justice. This is not love. And certainly, this is not the foundation of a healthy marriage. Alima's silent tears were not of guilt. They were the tears of a woman who had been judged without a hearing, condemned without compassion, and asked to apologize for defending her dignity. But as she looked around, one thing became clear: she was alone. The people who should have helped mediate, guide, or counsel are taking sides without truly seeking the truth or resolving the root problem. In every successful marriage, mutual respect and honor are the foundation. As elders, we have lived through generations and witnessed that where honor and respect dwell, peace and progress abound. A husband and wife must understand that they are not just each other, but also connecting to families. The way they treat one another and their respective in-laws determines whether their marriage becomes a blessing or a battleground. A husband must understand that his wife is not a slave, nor is she a punching bag or a verbal target. She is a partner, a helper, and a queen in his home. Calling her with honorific names like my love, my crown, or my treasure creates warmth and dignity in the home, even when she hurts. A wise husband corrects her with love and not humiliation. A gentle word turns away wrath, but a harsh word stirs up anger. In the same way, a wife must honor her husband. No man wants to be treated like a child in his own home. A respectful tone. Submission to leadership, not slavery, and supportive words can lift a man's spirit even when life is hard. Publicly and privately, a wise woman praises her husband and does not mock or compare him to others. A wise woman builds a house, but a foolish one tears it down with her own hands. Whether from the husband's side or the wife's side, both sets of in-laws deserve honor, not because they are perfect, but because they gave you your spouse. Speak with courtesy, avoid gossip or disrespect, and never pitch one family against the other. A daughter-in-law who honors her husband's parents will win their love. A son-in-law who respects his wife's parents will gain their trust when in-laws feel honored. They support the couple more willingly in times of need. Peace between in-laws means less tension at home and during family functions. Elders always advise that when there is a disagreement, never involve parents or siblings as weapons. Solve issues quietly and respectfully. Dragging family into every fight only creates division and long-term wounds. Make honor the culture of the home. Let children see their parents speaking with love, respecting grandparents, and appreciating uncles and aunts. This builds a family legacy that will last generations. Mutual respect in marriage brings numerous blessings. When couples speak kindly and treat each other with dignity, their home becomes a place of peace rather than conflict. Love grows deeper when nurtured through patience, understanding, and thoughtful communication. Respect also extends to in-laws, strengthening trust and family unity on both sides. A house built with love and respect will stand in the storm, but one built with pride and disrespect will crumble in silence. Dear couples, do not wait until your marriage is in crisis before learning these truths. Begin today. Honor your spouse, respect your in-laws, and build a family that heaven is proud of and earth can admire. In a quiet town nestled between green hills and vibrant markets, lived a couple whose marriage was admired by many. Dayo and Amara were not perfect, but what made them stand out was their deep respect, patience, and affection for one another. Even when they made mistakes or faced disagreements, Dayo, a humble civil engineer, was known for his calm and thoughtful nature. Amara, a dedicated school teacher with a love for children, was admired for her kind demeanor and wisdom. Their relationship wasn't built on material things. It was grounded in respect, communication, and shared values. Whenever Amara made a mistake, forgetting to turn off the gas, misplacing a receipt, or arriving late to an event, Dayo never insulted her or raised his voice. Instead, he spoke gently and with grace, saying things like, "My dear, I know it wasn't intentional," or "Even when you sleep, you still bring light into our lives." His friends and family often notice how different he treated his partner. In a world where people often respond to stress with harsh words, Dayo's approach stood out. He chose compassion over anger, kindness over accusation. Amara, in turn, also valued the power of words. If Dayo returned home late or forgot something important, she welcomed him warmly, saying, "You have had a long day. Take your time. Everything else can wait." She never mocked or held grudges over mistakes. Instead, she supported and encouraged him. When disagreements arose, they didn't resort to shouting or blame. One evening, they had a different opinion about a financial decision. Dayo wanted to invest in land. Amara preferred starting a business. Instead of arguing, they paused, reflected, and had a respectful conversation. They compromised, starting with a small business while saving for the land, and their decision prospered. Their families noticed the harmony. Dayo's mother would often say, "This is what partnership looks like: understanding and patience." His sisters respected Amara deeply, often remarking, "She never speaks out of anger. She uplifts those around her." Even Amara's in-law admire her poise. while her own family felt proud of how she had nurtured such a peaceful and strong bond with her husband. But Amara's gentleness wasn't weakness, it was strength. Her respect made her more cherished. In a conversation during a family gathering, Dayo once said, "I don't need anyone else. Amara's character, her spirit is worth more than anything money can buy." Amara would smile and respond, "And you are a partner who gives me peace. May life continue to be kind to you." Their home became a sanctuary, filled not with arguments, but with laughter, calm discussions, and warmth. Neighbors would often say, "There is always peace in that house." Every morning, Dayo and Amara would begin their day together, expressing gratitude, setting intentions, or simply holding hands and reaffirming their bond. They valued unity and wanted their relationship to be a positive example to others. As the years passed, their 3 children grew up in a home where kindness, honesty, and mutual respect were the norm. One of their daughters once said to a teacher, "In our house, nobody shouts. My parents talk things out. They even call each other sweet names when they are annoyed. My mommy calls my daddy my king, and my daddy calls her my queen. Even when they are not happy, they don't shout. They just go and pray, and then they laugh later." Dayo and Amara stories shows us that a peaceful relationship doesn't mean never disagreeing, but rather learning how to handle conflict with grace. True partnership isn't just about love in words, but love in tone, attitude, and action, especially in difficult moments. In a world where so many homes experience tension and misunderstanding, Dayo and Amara choose a different path. They choose to listen, they choose to support, they choose to respect. Their story reminds us that lasting relationships are not built on perfection, but on the daily decision to treat each other with dignity and care, regardless of beliefs, background, or faith. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our channel. Leave a comment below. We would love to hear your thoughts. And remember to press the notification bell so you never miss a new upload. Thank you, and God bless you for your support.